You have appointed this week a group that will assess and vet your vice presidential candidates, ultimately your candidate that you will choose as your running mate. And you and I have talked. You know that I prefer a black female. You've committed to a woman. You've committed to a woman, a black woman, to the Supreme Court. I won't press you on that because you've given it to a committee. But for the record, we have had that discussion, and you listened and said you're going to make the decision after the committee raises it. And credible leaders, Melanie Campbell of the Black Women's Roundtable and others have raised it. And part of it, I think, is the sensitivity of black women have to deal with sexism and racism. You know, I started, first campaign I ever worked on for president was Shirley Chisholm, and I watched her have to suffer through both. And I look at corporate executives like Tanya Lombard, Marvis Wells. These people have to go into these C-suites and deal with both. You have black women in your campaign. I mean, Simone Sanders plays a key role, others. The sensitivity, I think, that we have is whomever's selected, that black women be clearly seen as qualified to be vice president. We've had Geraldine Ferrara 30 years ago, 40 years ago. We've had even Sarah Palin. We've never had a black woman. You understand the sensitivity of the issue, even though you're not prepared to preempt your committee in terms of what you will do. You're not ruling out a black woman being qualified.
I really do understand that, Al, for real. And that's why I assure you that of the more than a dozen women that they're taking an initial look at, there are significantly more than one black woman that's going to be considered by this group, first and foremost, number one. Secondly, this administration, God willing if I win, is going to look like America. It's going to look like the country. And it's going to represent every hue and color in the country, and almost in a proportional sense, because it's long past time. And so what I'm looking at in the selection process is there are many people who are, in fact, qualified. Many women who are qualified have the experience and background to do the job. And that includes many women of color. And we should have a government, as I said, that reflects the nation when I choose a woman vice president, just as the beginning of that process now. And I certainly hear the concerns and the advice, Al. And, you know, as we just announced, we have a committee chaired by a diverse group, African-American leader named Representative Lisa Blunt Rochester, Mayor Eric Garcetti, Cynthia Hogan, who helped me write the Violence Against Women Act and is a very competent lawyer, Chris Dodd, and they're going to be thoroughly looking at a lot of qualified candidates. But when it comes to the vice presidency, looking for someone to be a partner in progress who's simpatico and ready to be president on day one. And as I said, there are many women with the experience and the background to do that job, and that includes women of color. But I believe we should have a government, again, I'll say it again, that reflects the nation. And choosing a woman for vice president is the beginning of that process. Look, if we hadn't had the circumstances that occurred last election, we'd have a woman president now. I'd be out campaigning for the re-election of Hillary Clinton.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.